All right, now this 1500, hey, this one got a Hemi in it, so this is different than both of them. Known problem with these guys is the exhaust ticking noise. Other than that, and in some cases, the roller rockers on the lifter will fail and chew into the cam. Now, I spoke about this earlier, guys. A lot of guys are buying this stuff, cars equipped with the Hemi, and they're acting proactive. Dart Hemi, what you think about this? A lot of guys that buy cars with Hemi, they'll go inside, take the head off, and go ahead and put new lifters in it. In other words, they're acting proactive. Okay, they feel the need to do a head gasket anyway, or they make themselves believe they need a head gasket. So they get their heads taken off. They might get a mechanic to do it, or they'll do it. But in the process of removing both heads, they go in with all new lifters. And in their mind, they should never have to deal with the ticking or the camshaft failure. Because remember, guys, the camshaft, we're only replacing the camshaft because of lobe damage. If there's no lobe damage, there's really no reason to replace the camshaft. Just quite frankly, I mean, there's no tone wheel on a camshaft like the 3.6 camshaft. If that tone wheel is damaged, yes, you got to replace the complete camshaft. So other than the fact that the lobers wore off, that's the only reason we replacing cams on a Hemi. But like I said, a lot of guys are acting proactive, or they catching it before engine damage occur. That's a lot of work, man, just to go in and put brand new lifters on your car when you don't need it at the time. Or they'll try to catch it, like if they hear a slight sound of a tick. Oh, let's do it before it chew into the cam. Hurry. Is that an option, or is that a good idea? It's hard to say. Okay, it's very hard to say. Now, I definitely would do it if I had to go remove the head for some other reason. Like if I'm not ticking and I had a reason to remove my head, just say a head gasket leaking, not blown, because it'd be hard to blow a multi-layer steel head gasket. Just say if one leaking, I had to remove the head. Yes, I'm by default going in with new lifters at that point. The head's already off, guys. You might never have to replace that camshaft because you've already updated your lifters. That's something to think about, guys. Hemi thoughts, okay? Hemi thoughts that make you go, should you act proactive and go ahead and replace your roller rockers, your lifters on your 5.7 Hemi, or any Hemi for that matter, so to avoid the infamous Hemi tick. Now, you all know about the other tick, the exhaust tick, so beware of that. All right. So, guys, I'm just about done. I'm about to wrap. Hey, it's the same engine I have in my Cherokee, guys. Mine's having a few problems. All right, so we're going to get that taken care of. ABS light on, likely wheel speed sensor. Who knows which wheels? There's 4 on a car simply because there's 4 wheel left front. He likely had a fault code for the left front speed sensor. And this is an ABS wheel speed sensor on a 2.4 multi-air engine. I'm sure the hood up to look things over and upsell, but left front wheel speed sensor, fairly easy, guys. All the ABS work on these are fairly easy. All right, this is your typical Jeep Cherokee. And guys, this happens no matter what kind of car it is. That happens from time to time. A lot of people would go ahead and replace them all. I'm not sure why, because they may fail at the craziest time, but it's not no risk just because it failed. It's not like a nag transmission where if one of your ABS wheel speed sensor fail, your transmission would start shifting funny. Okay, this thing has its own ABS module and its own transmission module. Okay, yes, this is a 9-speed transmission. That transmission module is right there, that little black box. Yes, that is the TCM, guys. So it has its own separate module. And this module right here is the PCM. So there's a module that controls engine functions and a module that controls transmission functions. Okay. All right, guys, let's go down this way. Let's see how my buddy coming along with this. Oh, it's not looking good, guys. Oh no, man. You know what's weird, guys? Like we was talking earlier, this pan or this transmission is aluminum. The casing is aluminum, but I think this bolt is somewhat steel. So even if you try to use a drill bit to go straight up, and you have to go straight, because you're going to be trying to close off the pan. So the pan has a hole already in it. I'm not sure how you're going to drill this steel bolt out Even with a zirconium bit, I want to say, it's going to be a risk no matter how you do it. I don't know how that happened. He said coming out, it just stopped and locked up, froze up. Man, I feel bad for my buddy. I hope he get it. Now, guys, y'all remember my 300 I did with the exhaust? Remember it broke right here? So this is how this originally looked. Okay, so y'all see how it curved. So a lot of y'all guys saying I did a shiesty job. Remember, guys, that wasn't a customer car. But this is how it's supposed to look. If I can get a muffler, guys, I found out you can get a muffler assembly. $100, $130. It's gonna go from here to maybe right here. So from that point, you can weld on. All right. I should have done that as opposed to, because you know it sounds like a little lawnmower. There's still some air escaping through there. So I'm gonna get her to get back in. We're gonna order. That's from Advanced Auto. Muffler is a muffler. It don't really have to be OEM. But if I get the complete set, yes, $1,500. Remember, it stops. Where is it stops? Oh, this one complete. Okay, the one on her car, it's a 300. Oh wow! So if you get a price on this one, you're gonna have to get the complete system. But the one my friend's car stopped right here, but it's still $1,500. So go figure. So I'm gonna get that back in, and yeah, that's not holding up because air's still escaping, and the car sounds like a little lawnmower. And a Chrysler 300 is not supposed to sound like a lawnmower, guys. No. That's not how that car is designed. All right, guys, I'm about done. I don't know what the other guy's doing, but we can, however, take a peek. I see a 1500 right here. Two 1500s. Hey, the day 1500 day. 3.6. P. Gavin. P. Gavin got one of these. Coyote. I think that's his new name. There you go, P. I have yet to go inside of a Pentastar on a truck. I don't know. I don't know what it is, guys. It's weird. It's the same engine as the vans and the Wranglers and things like that. Now, this Grand Cherokee has a 3.6 Pentastar, and it's not the Gen 3. So it's a typical Gen 2 Pentastar. It's a newer model because I can tell by the fuse box. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a Tip'em. We've done with the Tip'em, I think, in 13 or 14. I could be wrong, but the Tip'em was a bad experiment for FCA. They learned their lesson. It did well for the mechanics, but when you're trying to maintain good, loyal customers, you can't think like that. So you got to weigh your option on how you think. I'm just about wrapping this up. Here's the Wrangler. I upsold some stuff on it. We'll discuss this Wrangler tomorrow. Okay? Yeah, something to look forward to. All right, guys, that's all I have. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video.